This is To the Rescue Authentic Networking. I'm Jennifer Johnson, Executive Director of TTR Networking and a relationship marketing coach. This show is all about the authentic business networking, relationship building, and the success strategies used by our members to grow their businesses and give back to local nonprofits. Be sure to stay up to date. Subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the bell to get notifications of new episodes, and please visit our website, www.ttrnetworking.com. Now, on with the show.
Welcome to the Rescue, Authentic Networking. We are so glad you are here with us. I am Nicole Williams, along with my co-hosts Jennifer Johnson and Don Evans Casey. Jennifer, what's happening?
Well, you know what, today, you're just too happy. I don't know about you, but it is Friday here in Indiana today, and we have an awesome guest. So that's where I want to just go. Now I'm going to read what we have. We have Deb Miller with us, who actually there's so much in her bio that I am going to read it because it's amazing. Deb is semi-retired from more than 25 years consulting with financial services, healthcare, and manufacturing clients. As a consultant, she created procedures and processes for small and large businesses. Deb owns PinPoint Local, an online marketing franchise serving Carmel, Westfield, Noblesville, Lebanon, Whitestown, and Zionsville, which if you're here, that's pretty awesome because that's like that's Hamilton County, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. She provides online marketing strategies to individuals and businesses. So she's an author, a speaker, and a consultant, and has developed, which we're so excited, a life organizer program that assists people in preparing documents to be ready in the event of an emergency in a grab-and-go binder. And I know, Deb, we are so happy to have you here. So we're just gonna jump right in, and I mean, that's pretty. What is your 5-day? What's your organizer called? Tell me again.
It's My Life Organizer.
My Life Organizer. You know what? I actually have the book, guys. Wait a minute. Got to show everybody. Here's the book.
Yay!
I guess that would have helped if I just grabbed the book, right? It says My Life Organizer. So, Deb,
okay.
Why don't you, we're just going to turn it over to you. Why don't you tell us more about you, but what you do, and right now this is a pretty big focus of your life, right?
I mean, this is my focus. Yep.
You're my life. Yeah. And and how you do it or what you do, and how is the state of this whole pandemic COVID thing, how has that affected your business? And I actually probably know some of those answers, but take it away. Take it away.
I'm glad to be here, and thanks you for inviting me. My passion has been, over the last 10 years, has been emergency management and helping people being prepared for emergencies, helping businesses write business continuity and disaster recovery plans. Many years ago, kind of spurred me along, and with COVID-19 now, it brings even more of that necessary part of being prepared, and in case you have to be quarantined for 14 days, or you have you end up in the hospital, or family members end up in the hospital, or worse. And so all of that kind of came together, and I wrote the book in March. So it's a pretty new process for me that I wrote it. And it was based on my own background. A few years ago, my husband had a liver transplant, and we were living in Fort Wayne, and I ended up in Indianapolis for 3 months. And if you know anything about a liver transplant, if they call you, you have to be in town within 3 hours. So we had to move quickly, and I literally wasn't home except for a weekend or two for 3 months. So all of my bills at that time were not online. Everything was mailed to me. So it was a a difficult time for me to get everything and keep the household going while living in Indianapolis and spending my days at the hospital. So that became an important part of what I was doing. And the first thing I did when I got home was write a Word document with all of the information that was in this book is what was on my Word document. And it was many pages long, and it was in a 3x5, a regular 3-inch binder. And so that was the impetus for all of this. And COVID just brought it out more and more that this is something everybody needs. Because if you're in an emergency situation, you don't have time to think about it. You need to be able to grab something and leave. If, we've got tornadoes that come through, this is bad storms. If you have to be out of your house, how do you gather all of that information up quickly? And so that was the whole idea behind the grab and go binder to get started.
I love it. I love it. I can't believe it. Go ahead. Well, you're next. I'm just sitting here. I didn't know the whole story about your husband's liver. That's amazing. So
yeah, and he's great now. He's doing fine.
I was just gonna say, how is he doing? It's so hard to. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he had some complications. Normally, it takes you're in the hospital 7 to 10 days, and that's it. But he had some breathing issues and some other problems that made it so he was in ICU almost 2 months. So we're all good now. Everybody's fine. So
good to hear.
I'm so glad. Well, well, it is such an honor to have you here, local author, speaker, consultant. And I didn't realize So this March you wrote the book. This March?
This
my
last
goodness.
March.
Wow.
Yes. So
amazing.
It's brand new.
Yes, well, I definitely would like a copy, so I'm just going to put that out there. Signed copy, please. Signed
Okay.
copy, but we'll talk about that. But what was really neat is we had the pleasure. You recently spoke at my networking group that meets on Thursdays, Carmel Networking Partners, and it's really neat because you shared what you shared with us just now, and we learned more about it. And it was really cool because one of the important documents you had talked about was the will. And so it sparked a conversation. We have a lawyer, Ryan Groves, part of our group. And because of that, and you've inspired a lot of us to, collect our stuff and make our own go binder based on what you told us. But it's neat because of what you said. He and I connected and we're discussing my will. So I want to thank you. So that is just awesome. That is, but one other thing that we talk about, our whole show is about being authentic. And we were just wondering what authentic means to you and your business or your businesses.
Well, I think being authentic has always been part of who I am and what I do. It's not something that is a new buzzword for me. And I've always subscribed to the idea that in my conversations with people, it has to be a win-win for both of us, or we just don't do business together. It's just too hard if the customer isn't being authentic and I'm not being authentic. And being authentic means, to me, is knowing yourself, knowing what you can do and what you can't do, as well as what your morality tells you that you should be doing. I could sell all kinds of things, but it wouldn't necessarily be important to me, and it wouldn't be authentic for me. The emergency preparedness stuff is an authentic need that I have, and I like to share with people. And so everything that I do has to be a win-win for me and a win-win for my customers. And that's, over the years, that's been, 25 years in business. That's really been a key part of what I do and how I work with my customers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. Well, Deb, I'm listening, hearing your story, and I think that this is an awesome product and idea, service that you offer. I know although it was birthed out of a reactive response to an emergency situation for you, I'm sure that you hope that it's you sharing your story gets people thinking to be more proactive.
Absolutely.
And engage in something like this before an emergency, before chaos happens.
Yeah, and we all have parents who, you know, as we get older, our parents are getting older, and, you know, taking care of their financial responsibilities and knowing what happens in the case of their death is really a hard thing. And if you're not prepared, it makes life so much harder for your kids and for your caregivers and your family members. Just makes life easier if you really get organized and get your information together.
Certainly, certainly. Can you tell me how you usually meet people, engage people to take advantage of that process of preparing for an emergency?
Well, I belong to a couple of different groups, and I've always found that some networking groups have been really good and important, and I tend to do a lot of networking with my clients and my friends. I tell people about what I do. I let them know about it. I do some online marketing, a little bit of that. But I find that the best referrals for me, the best people, are people who know me and who have learned over the years and worked with me. They tend to be the best people to make referrals for me. And I'm moving sort of from the corporate kind of world to more of the personal in this product, because it's really designed, this product is really designed for individuals.
Okay.
You know, it isn't business oriented at this point, although I do have another book in the works. So, but for the most part, it's a move for me from being the business level to more of a personal, interpersonal kind of message. So that one-on-one, the conversations, the networking has been great.
Wonderful. Do you usually, is the book itself pretty self-explanatory and in the information that's you know, one would gather to be prepared, or do you walk people through the process?
I can do either. The book is really pretty self-explanatory. It's a workbook. So you basically just start filling in information based on what you need. And there's a little bit of instruction at the beginning. Where I find people need help is once it's getting them to start. Getting everybody knows you should do it. Everybody knows that it's something that would be very valuable for you to have, but everybody thinks, oh, I don't have time to do it. And that's where the 5-day Kickstarter came into play, because every day of a week you watch a little video, you have an assignment, and it gets you started and gets you going in that process of getting all of your stuff together. And it's free. I don't charge for that at all. And you don't even need the book to be able to do this. If you just, you know, go through the 5-day process, you'll end up with a checklist and some one-on-one coaching to get you started and get you on the process. This is probably not something you're going to do one time and it'll be done, because things change. You know, you'll have to update it on an occasional basis. But it's an important thing for people to even just get started doing.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
Well, I was just thinking when she was saying that it would, you know, it's going to it's a living, breathing thing as you change things. I don't know if that's the right wording, but you know what I mean? It's changing. And, but you said something, oh my goodness, my brain.
I was going to jump in. Can
Yeah.
you tell us, she told us a little bit about it, but are you having some kind of a challenge coming up? What is it?
It's a 5-day challenge, and basically every day, I'm calling it the 5-day Life Organizer Kickstarter. And basically it's a Facebook group that you would join. It's a private Facebook group. And for a week, I post a video and an assignment, and then whoever participates then comes onto the Facebook page and writes the answer to their assignment. So, it isn't something that's going to take you forever to do. The videos are short, 5 to 10 minutes at the max. And the assignments are things that just to get you started and talk about some things. It's kind of fun. And I have some prizes for people who, every day I award a prize to those, someone who has done their homework gets entered into the drawing for a prize. So it just kind of keeps it going, keeps people excited about it. I do have an offer at the end for something, a paid offer at the end, but you don't have to do any of that. And basically the paid offer is for people who live in the Indianapolis area or surrounding areas. Once you've gathered everything up, if you want some help organizing it and scanning it, all the documents and putting them on a thumb drive and getting them prepared for sharing, I can come and do that and help you with that. But that's totally only for people who really want to get some help, especially if they have an elderly family member that needs this to happen.
So what are the dates of that again, Deb? What is, and I'll put those in the notes of the meet or of our show. Do you remember what the dates are?
No.
Okay, well, do we know? I think you said something, it was 17th or something of September, maybe?
It's September the 21st is the start.
So we'll do, okay, but so there's going to be a Facebook group and starts this. And I would think even if somebody, I don't mean to be adding more to your load of, but if somebody were not in the area, but they were interested, you could probably talk them through some of the stuff because your time is valuable. You could still come up with come up with a price to help them talk them through.
I can do one-on-one coaching.
With the virtual world, I would think that you could say, okay, you need to do this, this, and this, where that one-on-one would help somebody who needs.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, just as my father-in-law just died recently in the COVID crisis and everything, and knowing that he had a lot of things all in one place that actually not everything was. So we're in the process right now. This is going to be a God's gift to people if they just take advantage of putting it together now. Do it when you're not needing it.
Yes.
That's the point,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So the one thing I was going to say, you said something about business and personal. It kind of boils down to get something like this done, and then you can go do your business and know this is done. Why would you're not
peace of mind.
Peace of mind, definitely. Well, that's the thing, no matter, it's just like insurance. You've got it. If you don't have it, you don't need it until you can't get it. And then it's too late, right? So you might as well take care of it while you can. Well, the question, and Deb, I know a lot of times the questions in this come back to, I bugged you. I don't know if I bugged you, but a lot of people that come to the groups or visited, or I met somebody along the way, I just kind of reel them in and keep reeling them in. But do you have any, you are a member of the Westfield group, which means on Wednesday morning. And you did say that you get to know people, and that's how most of the time your referrals. Do you have any stories about, because you've been a member for a while, and if you don't have a story like that, maybe you have a connection or something that, that you would like to share that came out of networking, because we all know it works.
It does. It absolutely does. One of the members of our group invited me to a Rotary meeting
Oh, okay.
because it allowed and asked me to be a presenter for that, which is getting me out in the community and doing some other things. Our group meets a lot of one-on-ones. We do a lot of those so that we really do get to know each other a lot better. And we're able to do referrals that are really more targeted than some network groups I've been in the past. And we really do know more about what the person that we're working with really is looking for. And I think that's been very valuable. And I've done some strategic marketing work with some of the members in our group too. And they've been very, very delighted that they've gotten some help too. So it's a good way to really get to know people in your community and really get good referrals, not just, the list of things. If you have to have a referral, you'll pull somebody out of your Rolodex and just give that name. That isn't what TTR does. And I'm really excited about that part.
Good. Well, I was going to say part of that question, as I read this, I always feel like people kind of give us the answers to these. But you did do the Rotary, and I know we're now getting you to speak to the other groups a little bit, and that's turning, and that's how people we just did this in our mastermind group. It's all about asking. You got to ask. Yeah. You reached out to me after one of your meetings and said, I'd like to do more. I said, okay, here we go. We're plugging you in. So now you're getting plugged in, and you got to be, you've already said it, and I am not against certainly want people to say good things about To the Rescue Networking, which is the full name. TTR Networking is what we all usually say. Was there any, well, you already said, they're about the one-to-ones, getting to know each other. Anything else? Because we're basically, the question is, are there any characteristics of TTR that attracted you? And I think you already said the one-on-ones was
the one-on-ones was really big for me, and knowing that the referrals that we're getting are authentic referrals, not just somebody's Rolodex that they're just giving you because you have to have it. And we keep track of transactions, and we keep track, but we don't keep track of dollar amounts because everybody's in such a different level of giving and sales process and the whole bit. We do a lot of one-on-ones, which I think are very valuable. I think that's a key.
Well, and I think a lot of groups do talk about doing that, but a lot of them don't do it.
We track how many one-on-ones we've had in the group. And
great idea.
That makes it so we really can report every month, or every week that we've really met with somebody. Yeah. And I typically meet at least one person a week.
And
that's a great goal. I love that.
And we've had, though, Nicole's kind of a newer leader to our groups, but I would say, I don't know what, I'm sorry, Nick, Deb just said something there. We have people in the group that say, maybe not, you've got, most of our groups are 8 to 10, maybe 10 people, maybe a little over, we got some more. But the reality is that, if every couple months you met with the other members and you just rotated it, because like Deb just said, she's in March, she wrote this book. Well, she's writing another one in a couple months. She's going to have that book ready to share with that one-on-one person. And that's what I'd like everybody to always think. You have a one-to-one with somebody. The next week, they may have a new product. They may have a new lead for you. And if you don't keep doing those one-to-ones, you're not going to know. Yeah. I mean, they might say it, because I know Deb is not going to her meeting and not sharing that she's writing this other book. But until you meet that one-to-one, it might not be that much of a priority to you to do anything, but that one-to-one, you know what I'm saying? So that's I'm glad that you brought that out. So that's great. Now I'll look forward to the next book. But Dawn, you have a nonprofit question, don't you? I've kind of gone down.
I do.
Yeah.
What you offer in itself is very helpful to individuals, and helping people is what we're about. A tenet of the To the Rescue organization, what we really support and believe in, is helping nonprofits and giving back to our local communities. So how do you, or what nonprofits and community groups are you interested in working with? And can you give us an idea of, what do you contribute time, talent, and treasure-wise
Well,
to
yeah,
those types of organizations?
Yeah, we do have our TTR group does have a charity that we support, but I've recently gotten involved with a couple of different organizations that have to do more with disaster preparedness. I recently joined the Civilian Crisis Response Team, which is CCRT, and they actually have people down in Louisiana right now with the storms. People were deployed down there. I don't have enough training yet to be involved with that part of the organization, but I'm doing what I can in terms of helping them with fundraising and stuff like that. And then locally as well, I'm also a member of the Hamilton County Community Emergency Response Team, which is CERT, C-E-R-T. And that's associated with the Emergency Management Agency here in town. And so I'm on the board of directors for them. And they do a lot of the same things. They support, in the community and do a lot of training for people who are looking to get involved in and knowing how to help in an emergency. So, first aid, CPR, how to manage, if there's a disaster in your area, we can help, manage some of that and work with the local emergency management people and the fire department and the police department to be a support for them in times of crisis.
Wow.
So those are two areas that I'm really involved in a lot. And it all kind of goes together with the emergency stuff. So
sure it does. And I'm sure that you can contribute a lot from your own professional perspective to help others who are looking to develop their own training skills and be an additional helpful response to emergency responders.
Yep.
in cases where they're needed. So that's great. Thank you for sharing that.
And I actually have, Deb had actually sent me all that, or we have that information. So I'll put that in the notes of the, so we've got some great, so John or Deb, I did see that. Sorry. I don't know if you thought that I missed that totally. I didn't mean to. Okay.
That's awesome. Well, Deb, could you please tell me how we can find you? How can we contact you for more information on the book, on your programs?
Well, I do have a couple of websites. The lifeorganizercoach.com is where I have the books and more information about the life organizer aspect of what I do and how I can help companies and people with their organization and their process. And then deborahcmiller.com is my main website. Has lots of information about me and some of the other books that I've authored are all listed on there. And you can call me at 317-399-9905, or just send me an email at deb@deborahcmiller.com.
Yes. Well, and I was actually, how cool to have your own website With your own name. I guess we can all do that if we wanted to.
Absolutely.
If
And
we
I
had-
think everybody should.
You know, and actually I think people probably more and more are going that way. How many books have you authored, Deb?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 7 or 8
Wow.
Wow.
that are out there. I've written books on change management with another friend of mine, so we have two books on that. I've done some e-learning training, so I have a book on e-learning. I have, besides my life organizer, I have a small book called My Health Organizer, and then I've done some disaster recovery, business continuity planning, and that's the revised book that's coming out probably by the end of the year.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you for your time. We always try to just kind of give you a minute if you want to kind of, we'd also say she can be found on ttrnetworking.com too, under the Westfield group. I'm sure her profile is up to date. But what would be your final thoughts, Deb, to leave us with so that we can put a bow on it?
You really need to trust yourself to be authentic and really work to do the win-win with your customers, because that's what's going to, build the trust that people need in order to recommend you to other people. And it makes you be more authentic for yourself and doing the things that are the most important and valuable to you, because at the end of the day, we have a certain amount of time, and we might as well do it doing something we really like to do and really enjoy, and make a difference in the world.
Wow.
Love it.
Awesome.
That's kind of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is.
Wow.
It is
Wow.
for me.
Good job.
Yeah.
Dawn or Jennifer, do you guys have any final thoughts?
No, we when we started this video cast, we were always going to say something, a quote about authenticity, but you know what? I kind of think the Serenity Prayer has been the answer every time. So I would just encourage people, if you don't know what the Serenity Prayer, and I'm sure Deb we had a guest on one time, Deb, who knew it. She just said it. I didn't even know. And I was like, I even have it behind me, but I always, the thing is, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I don't care what guests we've had on here. It's like, that is the answer. You have an awesome program. You're running this challenge in a couple of weeks. You're going to be doing this, but not but anything. There is no excuse, and being completely authentic here, there's no reason you should not be doing this. Even if you got to reach out to Deb, or you got to get this stuff in order on your own, but why not have Deb help you? I mean, why not, So, there's some things that are happening right now we can't control. But in general, when you've got this opportunity, you can control this, and you can make life a lot easier, and you can go live your life and not worry about it. So Dawn, I jumped on top of that. You got a thought now that you've met Deb?
My thoughts, this has been completely wonderful. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Deb.
Thank you.
This information that you've put together just makes sense. I'm looking forward to talking with you more about the nonprofits that you're engaged with, as well as this product that you've developed, because it just makes sense for me, and I would imagine for so many others. So continued success, and I'll look forward to talking with you in the future. This has been a great podcast, ladies.
Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. And until next time, may all your days be filled with authenticity.
Bye, everybody.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.